Sales is still, even today, not seen as a profession. There are now some courses, I think there's university courses for sales, but you don't hear many people saying, I want to be a sales professional. Without sales, you don't have a business. Think about value again, because how much of what they're asking for is actually not satisfied by pounds and pence. It's satisfied by them being valued by you. So what I'm saying is, how much does recognition cost? How much do people use recognition, the free recognition that we have? When I first started the business, my limiting belief was like, you can only spend what you've got. I had a bit of capital to set it up, but if I went back and did it again, and I did a speech to young people on this, if I did it again, I would invest more in the beginning, in some things, in people, in resources, to kickstart it more. And the other thing that held me back a lot was...
Cathy, thank you very much for coming and working on it. I really appreciate it. So yeah, you can just chill.
Yeah, I'm
relax.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we're
not
relaxing.
relaxed enough.
We're just having a nice conversation. It's no problem.
No, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Really
very
pleased
much.
to come along. Really looking forward to it.
Brilliant. Yeah, brilliant. So, so you built a reputation for being a bit of a...
I've definitely built a reputation.
Yeah, a powerhouse. And whilst raising a family and growing companies and helping others, where did it all begin and what made you go into that field?
So it began a long time ago.
Yes.
And when I graduated from university, I had a good degree. So I feel for some of the people, the young graduates now, trying to find jobs in a difficult market. But even way back then, I didn't get on any of the graduate schemes. I saw myself working for like BP or Shell. I thought they were really glamorous, go on a graduate scheme with them.
Yeah.
And I'd always wanted to work in sales. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know why. My parents weren't in sales. My mother was an artist, so couldn't be further from it. Always wanted to work in sales. I just had this desire to work with people to help them achieve what they wanted. Always wanted to work in sales. So it started right back then when I went and found a job I couldn't get on a graduate scheme, and I started work in central London, working for Haymarket, a publishing house, for one of their publications, selling advertising space on the telephone, commission only.
Wow. That's quite a jump, because also not only that as well, like a while ago, sales was a bit of a dirty word, isn't it, in a sense? So for you to really make that leap into it, it's like perhaps sort of like an inner drive that you had. You wanted to just...
Yeah, I think it's in my DNA. I think it is in people's DNA. I think the sad thing, Brad, is that sales is still, even today, not seen as a profession.
Yeah. There
are now some courses, I think there's university courses for sales, but you don't hear many people saying, I want to be a sales professional.
Yeah. I didn't even know they had university courses, huh?
Yeah, I think there's one at Southampton and somewhere else, but I've not been on it.
Yeah. I tell you what, that would be brilliant if they were, because, you know, like it's just, I think it's anything is sales, isn't it, really? Even when you're speaking to people, it's still a form of sales, isn't it, and so to speak. So if you can learn that craft, then I think you're going to do pretty well.
I mean,
well, you're living proof.
I hope so. I mean, the thing for me is that, like, without sales, you don't have a business.
Yeah, that's very true.
And even in businesses I've gone into, and I've gone to consult with them, or when I worked in corporate, I went into divisions, and they're like, oh, we don't actually sell. I mean, I heard it from people like lawyers and quantity surveyors and people like that, professionals who say, oh, we don't sell. And they say, well, who does sell? Oh, we don't sell.
Yeah.
But they do, because people buy from them. And if people don't buy from you, because that's the reverse side of the coin with sales, is buying.
Yeah, that's
so right. Actually, if you want to take the dirty word away from sales, just call it buying. You help people to buy. That's what I talk about a lot. And what's better than helping people buy, solving their problem and getting them the right solution and helping them move forward? And you get the revenue from that, your business grows, it's a win-win situation.
Exactly, yeah, that's exactly right. Because, like, I think with you, when you turn it around like that, there was a guy I had on before, and he talks about afters. So he uses sales, but talks about afters, like what's the customer going to have after they've bought from you, as you say, and that's what you focus on. And not so much I'm selling you my product, is I'm selling you, I don't know, pain relief, or I'm selling you, so, you know, don't have to worry about this particular division anymore, or taking away all of that stress. And, you know, so that sort of thing, he kind of dresses it up in a much larger scale. but it's still sales.
It is still sales, but it is also still solving people's
Yeah,
problems. Because if you
definitely.
don't solve their problems, if you just sell,
Yeah,
and I mean, we all get them on the phone or we meet them in, the shops or in business even,
yeah,
people who come and literally sell to you, LinkedIn.
yeah.
You connect with someone and suddenly they're selling to you directly on LinkedIn. I can't
That's
stand that.
that's a bit of a pain, actually,
I
though.
can't stand that
Yeah,
because it's all about building relationships and as this
definitely.
person afters, but also like actually the lifetime client value is what's
Mm,
really important,
yeah.
particularly in my sort of business, for instance. I mean, I work with people for 5, 6, 10, 15 years.
Mm,
One of my biggest clients at the moment, I've been working for them for, it'll be 17 years next year.
wow.
So,
That's amazing, isn't it?
yeah.
But with that, you've obviously built a really good, deep, meaningful relationship with them. And I think that's sort of like the moment they just, like you said about LinkedIn, they just jump on you straight away. Like, don't even know you, don't know anything about you. Can I even trust you? That sort of thing. And I think that's where LinkedIn is very good if you use it with that frame of mind to build a relationship with people. So I think that's a good way of looking at it, isn't it? Really.
Definitely, definitely.
So yeah. So then you then started a company.
Yes, quite a few years later. So
Yeah.
it's been running 18 years. It's
Yeah.
its birthday this year,
Oh, okay.
which
Oh,
I'm quite proud
congratulations.
about that. Yeah, so
Yeah.
we were
18th
18 this
birthday
year.
then.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, literally just now.
Wow.
I set up just as the financial crash hit. So great
Right.
time to start a
Yeah.
business. But proof, yeah,
Yes.
that you can go from zero to hero.
Yeah.
And I've been back to zero again.
Yeah.
So growth's often like that. You look
Yeah.
at most millionaires, they're made in a crisis. Most people succeed most when it's the hardest they overcome the challenges. So yeah, 18 years old today, but before that had a career in corporate as well.
Right.
And I did a
Okay.
lot of big businesses, a lot of sort of big deals. I did big tenders. I did a couple of turnarounds on businesses. So, I've got a lot of experience over a lot of years in a
Yeah.
lot of different places, which is what I find really enjoyable with my clients because most of the time, if not always, I've been in the space they're in or
Yeah.
I've been to the place they're looking to get to.
Because well, so what made you go from the corporate to suddenly still, I'm good. I'm going my own here. What was that kind
That's
of
a really good
transition? And
That's a really good
yeah.
question. So, some of it was frustration,
Right.
some of it was potentially need, and some of it was probably that underlying DNA. I mean, my grandparents were both entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
They both ran their own businesses.
Right. So you had it in your
So I
DNA,
had
as
it
you
in me. And
say.
my dad had always worked in corporate all the way through his life with ICI, did a great job for them and had a fantastic career with them. So I think it was there under the sort of layers that I would always be an entrepreneur. And I sometimes think, oh, I wish I'd done it sooner, but then I wouldn't have that background I had in corporate, which
Yeah.
I think serves me very well
Mm.
and hopefully serves my clients very well.
Yeah.
So the frustration was that I was working in corporate, I was traveling abroad, I had 2 kids under 5, and it was hard. So I was working in theory a 3-day week, but I was running the EMEA major accounts division for a importer and distributor of forklift trucks. Very glamorous,
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
So,
Heavy
and
plant.
I after hours one evening, I'd been to international law for an hour. Really painful, really tedious. And then I had to meet with HR, and I was talking about one of the new recruits who I'd basically been mentoring and bringing on board. And during that meeting, I found out that he was actually paid more than me on an equivalent, that he worked 5 days a week, but he was actually paid more than me.
Right.
So that was the real trigger that
Yes.
said, I came out of that meeting, I got in the car, I rang my husband and said, that's it, I'm leaving this place.
Mm.
And he's like, what time are you going to be home then? And I'm like, no, I'm leaving this place for
Oh,
good.
I see.
What time are you going to be home?
Oh,
Because
really? Oh, thanks for the heads up. I'll put a cooker on.
so, yeah, well, I think he's waiting for me to get home and cook the dinner.
Oh, okay, okay. I was going to
But
have it ready for you.
but I think that, you could see that as a negative or you could see it as a positive because I always think
Mm.
you get prodded to
Yeah.
make these big changes because it's very hard to get out of corporate. Anyone listening to this who's in a corporate role at the moment and has aspirations for something different or something better, then this is a really good example.
Yeah.
I was also, as I said, I had 2 kids under 5. I was traveling abroad. I used to get the first flight out of Heathrow probably every week. and it was really hard.
Yeah.
So I kind of was sort of seeing that I probably would need to make some changes, but I was resisting them because this is what I'd always wanted to do. I wanted to be at board level. I
Mm.
wanted to be really powerful. I wanted to make real changes and differences. I wanted to work in really aggressively growing businesses. So I had real ambitions and aspirations, but it was starting to get quite pressurized and quite difficult. Um, and I think, as I say, the other thing was ultimately 6 months after that, I met up with a long term mentor of mine, somebody I'd worked with in corporate, and I'd made them a lot of money. So we'd always had a really good friendship, as well as sort of he kind of mentored me through
Mm.
my career. And he just said to me that day, he said, "If you had a blank sheet of paper, Cathy, what would you do?" And I said, "Well, that's simple. I'd set my own business up." And he said, "Well, what are you waiting for?" And
Yeah.
here I am 18
So
years
that,
later.
yeah, exactly. That's it. So
So,
that was kind of the gentle nudge that you needed to take that
yeah,
decision,
yeah.
wasn't it,
It's just a
really?
kind of sort of succession of things
Yeah.
which brought me to that space and then where I am today.
Yeah.
And it's, you keep going through those hurdles, like those challenges, because you meet that resistance and you sit behind that resistance.
Yeah.
But actually, and I think one of our mentors says it is like on the other side of resistance is everything you want and everything you love.
Yeah.
And that's a really good example of it.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You're living proof of that.
Mm.
So it's just making sure that you've got that courage. And, but I think the corporate knowledge and experience probably, as you say, helped you with what you've set up for the last 18 years,
Yeah.
isn't it, really?
I mean, and one really good example of that, beyond doing the big tenders and stuff like that, when you're doing a 20 or $50 million tender, which is international, and you had to work like till midnight, and it's
Yeah.
like it was just crazy.
Yeah.
But also great fun. I had a really good team around me then.
Mm.
I learned how to get people on board. I learned how to find the ways to win those tenders, because even back then, we had online tenders, the start of online tenders, where you couldn't really engage with the client at all. It was all on pricing. So
Mm.
you had to find a way to be different. So that was really useful. And another thing I think which really stands out in my career in corporate was when I went out to work in the retail motor industry.
Right.
I set up their financial services division, and I took that from a small profit to a big profit in a couple of years. Then they asked me to run their Nissan dealership, which was losing £250,000,
Wow.
and they asked me to turn it round. It was like a £40 million business. I mean, I don't know why I ever said yes. It was crazy.
But that might be the ambition in you, though, isn't it? The drive.
And it was going to get me to the board.
Yeah. Oh, right.
That
Okay.
was my ambition.
Yeah.
So I was put into that role by the board. There were 3 people on the board, and I was
Mm.
going to be on that board.
Yeah.
Um,
And what year was this then?
oh, that's giving the game away.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That was 1995.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So a long time ago. So what's that, 30
So what
years?
was you, about 18 at that time?
12.
Yeah. Brilliant.
And that was brutal.
Yeah.
And I did a post on LinkedIn recently telling my story, because I did succeed. I did turn it around from £250,000 loss
Brilliant.
to £47,000 profit in 10 months. But it also made me ill and put me in hospital.
Oh, okay.
So,
So at that expense.
yeah. But then you have complete control of the profit and loss account. It's your responsibility. I had a team of 35 people,
Mm.
and I felt really responsible to them. And I had to look at that profit and loss account and the balance sheet, but primarily the profit and loss account. I think, and I might be talking a mistruth here, but I don't think there's many people who do sales, coaching, consultation, sales turnaround, transformation, who've actually had that sort of responsibility for the P&L.
Yeah, because that's quite in depth in that finance side of things. And you mentioned about you putting together proposals for, what was it, 14, $13 million
Yeah.
as well. So you're taking care of the sales side of things as well. You were doing heavy plant, so it's like the operational side of things.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking like the 3 of the 5 key pillars of business here, you pretty much covered, So
Which is, and
yeah,
thank you, because
yeah.
and that, I think that was that turnaround was really transformational, because I actually took over a workshop with 15 technicians in overnight. I had never ever run a workshop. I had to get somebody up from one of the other car dealerships to show me how to do the utilization and
Yeah.
efficiency reports. I had all sorts of problems in there, staff problems, operational problems, logistical problems, problems with the parts department,
Yeah.
you know. But actually, the thing I've learned through all of this is that, yes, you have to be up high and strategic with things,
Mm.
but you also have to get down deep and dirty with it. So I
Yes.
got involved in this part stock check.
So you run operations too?
Yes, I have. I suppose I hadn't really thought about it like that, but
The only
yes.
one left is marketing. So yeah.
And I'm trying to become more expert
Yeah,
at that, because
exactly.
sales and marketing now are so close together.
Yeah.
So the training I'm doing now, when I do a project rollout training or just independent training for sales, I talk a lot about marketing.
Right.
I'm just putting together a sales training day for 2 days in January for one of my biggest clients. And I'm actually talking about marketing, about how you go out and target customers first.
See, so just while we touch on this, it's not
Yeah.
on here, but just while we touch on this, what would you say is the difference between marketing and sales? I know people tend to put them together and think, okay, that's one, but it actually isn't. But I wonder what you thought.
So the key difference is, and the way we used to say it, is that marketing find the leads and sales close them.
Yeah.
But the world's changed. Sales have to go out and find their own leads now, and marketing quite often find and close them.
Oh, really?
Well, if you think about a lot of the online marketing where you go to a landing page and you buy off that landing page, that's marketing converting you.
Yeah. Yeah,
There's
that's
no
right.
salesperson involved.
Yeah, yeah, that's very true. Didn't look at it like that.
So they are so inextricably linked
Yeah.
that I now, for sales and revenue growth, I have to be talking about how you attract customers. Because
Yeah.
sales used to really start at like prospecting,
Mm,
and the number of sales teams where I'm like, oh, I just get rubbish lists from marketing, or I get rubbish leads from marketing.
yeah.
And I'm like, well, if you're getting rubbish leads from marketing, let's see what you can do.
Well, now, proof's in the pudding now. 'Cause now it's a case of, okay, what's the marketing? What message are you sending out there? I saw it as like, what's your vision? Where do you want to go? What's your journey? What are you trying to achieve? What message are you sending out? And what kind of target audience you're trying to hit? Marketing. But then, like you say, if you have it on, like you say, social media platforms or website platforms now, and landing pages, as you say, now there's all these systems where it all happens on that one page, doesn't it?
Yes,
The whole thing is like from start to finish,
it's
from
on that
inquiry
one.
to close.
And that's smaller ticket stuff. So a lot of the work I do is higher ticket.
Right.
So in machinery, for instance, the entry level price of a machine is about £25,000 or euros.
So you're not going to add to basket and buy one of those, are you?
No, and
realistically?
you can't, because most of those are bespoke as well,
Right.
which I think is a real thing with sales, is like, how complex is the sales? I often talk about that when I see people saying, this is how you do sales, this is how you do marketing. Actually, you've got to really look at the nature of the sale and the
Mm,
context of the sale, the context of the customer, to be able to define how you should approach it, both from a marketing and a sales perspective.
yeah.
But I do a lot of work talking about marketing. I do a lot of work. This project I'm doing the training for in January is actually the result of a project on a value proposition. So, what are the key benefits that you offer to your customer? Why should they buy from you?
Yeah.
And that is as much marketing as sales. It takes you the whole way through. So, if you said to me 2 things that every business must have to be effective in sales, I'd probably say a sales process. So, what are the steps that their salespeople, the business needs to go through to take a customer from initial interest, or to create the interest, through to actually becoming a customer?
Mm,
That's your sales process. Doesn't have to be complicated.
yeah.
A lot of businesses don't have one, and if they do, they don't follow it.
Yeah. That's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other one is the value proposition. Go on.
I'm really guilty of that, actually. I'm
Okay.
sitting there. That's why I went silent a bit there. I was like, that was me about 4 months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you got one now?
We got one now. Yeah. We
Okay,
got one
cool.
now, yeah.
If you want,
All the systems and
if you
stuff.
want someone to do a review of it,
Oh,
and
okay.
kick the
All right then.
tires, then
Yeah.
I was going to say I'm your man, but I'm
Yeah.
your person.
You're the person.
And the other one is the value proposition. And that's so key, because so many salespeople, they're asked to pick the phone up, they're asked to go and see customers. They don't actually know what they're going to say to them.
Mm,
And the value proposition gives them everything they need to say.
yeah.
And it needs to be different. It shows how you're different as well as why you're good. I'm really passionate about value propositions. So many businesses don't have those either.
Because you mentioned earlier on about you putting together the proposals, and what I was going to say was, do you have any tips on? And I asked this question a few times, but I hope it's helpful. But the way it is if there's 3 proposals on a table of, say, a product or a service, how would you suggest that you could perhaps stand out from those three? Let's say the prices were similar,
Yeah.
but how would you suggest that would be a good way to to
So,
stand
so
out?
the biggest way to stand out is be different.
Right.
There's so much noise out there. There'll be so many that look the same, and the price is the only difference. So the biggest thing I would say is be different. And one of the ways to be different is to focus on value
Yeah.
instead of price. So what is the value? And the way that the value is relevant is that it relates to the customer's situation, needs, problems. There's a real overlap. If you did a Venn diagram, you could
Yeah.
have what you're best at. I've actually written this into the training I'm doing in January. What you're best at, which is your value proposition, and what the customer wants or needs most. Where those overlap,
Yeah.
that's where the sale happens, and that's where you can be different.
Right. Okay. So that's kind of like the customer experience as well, I suppose,
It
isn't it, in
is.
a sense?
It is.
Isn't it funny how the language of this sort of like sales or whatever it is, service that you deliver has changed so much? Because years ago it used to be this is the product, this is the price, that's it. We say yes or no. But now it's so much more now about the value, as you say, the customer experience, what are you going to deliver to them, how are they going to feel, what pain points are you easing up for them? Like the other guy said, the afters. What is their situation going to be like once they hire you? And it's more focusing on that, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think solving the problem as well. But being different is, I think it was Johnny Ives from Apple who said, it's very difficult to be better. It's a lot easier to be different, or something like that.
Yeah.
I've probably crucified his
Yeah.
quote, but I use it all the
Good
time. But
guy.
because even someone like Apple, who he works for, um, they always stood out. No one bought anything other than an Apple phone once they'd had it, because it
Yeah.
was so different. And that's their way to market, is everything we do is about being different. Change it, rocking the status quo.
Mm,
But now that USP has become much narrowed with some of the other providers like Samsung. So they've kind of lost some of that in terms of the actual product. So now their point of difference has to all be about the customer experience, the problems they solve. Like, I can just tap on an Apple phone and it comes up with the answer, even if I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. If I tap it enough, and back in the day, they used to use a child to demonstrate that.
yeah.
So it's not their USP, their unique selling point, which is an age-old traditional thing. I've never really believed in USPs.
Yeah.
I've always believed in being different. And it's your point of difference and how it meets with the customer and what they want and need. And want's important as well, because any selling, any buying is emotionally driven. We
Mm,
forget that, particularly in business. We forget that. We forget, oh, well, that's a business person, Cathy. So why are you approaching the sale like that? I said, because it's a person. Happens
exactly.
to be in business.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
right. It's still people, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Yeah.
And that's that connection. Goes back to that connection with the LinkedIn thing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Exactly the
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah. And I mean, for me in sales, the thing I love about it is meeting people, learning about them and their business, and having fun doing it.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds really strange, but part of my elevator pitch is I help 8+ figure businesses to double their revenues, ideally in under 12 months.
Yeah.
Help the business leaders focus on the strategic priorities, but hopefully have a bit of fun along the way.
Yeah.
And people look at me sometimes and I say, it's really tough out there. It is really tough out there.
Yeah.
I mean, with machinery, all the stuff from China and the price, it's like half the price.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
coming in with lithium batteries. It's a real challenge, even for me, standing up in front of rooms and standing up in meetings with, business leaders. That's a challenge for me. I haven't got a silver bullet.
Mm,
But the silver bullet, if there is one, and there will be one somewhere, lies in how you can be different, how you can approach your customer in a way that they can't get elsewhere.
mm. Exactly. And it is the USP, as you say, but, let's say it's like the value, isn't it?
Yes, because
What you
USPs are
bring.
short-lived.
Yeah, that's right.
Value
Yeah.
and difference is much longer lived.
Yeah.
And it still has to be alive. I was having a conversation yesterday about a value proposition, and we'll probably have to update it and refresh it,
Yeah.
because the way we built it 3 years ago, 4 years ago, is maybe now it's a little bit tired. Things have changed. The world has changed.
Well, I was going to say, isn't it? And also it's got a lot tighter. with things, isn't it? Certainly financially.
Yes.
So that now becomes, perhaps before it wasn't really a subject to talk about, or perhaps a 10-15% of the decision making. But I think it's risen, isn't it? It's almost all it is now, because so many people are wanting answers, and it's based
What
on
do you mean? Do you mean
finances.
in terms of competitiveness or in terms of budget?
Budget it both, really, in a
Yeah.
sense that, like, we submitted some proposals, and it's kind of a case of, as running a service-based business, you got the people that work with you, like your team, and they're people, as we all are, and they're experiencing the same pressures of, sort of like, let's say, costs, etc. So they're, on one end, you got them asking for more wages, perhaps more opportunities. Then you then got the other end, where it's, you're trying to send out proposals and win the work, and the work that you have got, when it comes up to renewing time, they've got their customers that they have to answer to with budgeting.
Yeah.
So they're getting like, proposals sent into them, and then you've got the smaller companies coming through thinking, okay, let's get in there, we'll win, we'll go in half price or something silly like that. So you got them asking for a reduction in the price, wages
Going
looking
up.
to increase,
Yeah.
and then your administrative costs and all your costs that's all kind of out your control-ish, are going up anyway. So with that, how would you approach it? Because you saved a company and got them into £430,000 of net profit in
Yeah. I
8
mean,
months.
that was a different
What
environment.
skills did you use?
I mean, to be honest with you, with that business, it was really difficult, and I had to go through the mill with the manufacturer, which was Nissan. I'd never recommend that to anybody. I did a Kaizen study with Nissan. I mean, that's probably what put me in hospital. But I had to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, with that one, the way I did it initially was, instead of looking to just increase sales, which I was doing, I needed some quick wins.
Mm.
And I have a 7-step process that I use to do this, double your revenues.
We're getting into that, so yeah.
Point 7, yeah. Well, I'm in sales, aren't I? And marketing.
Sorry.
But it's important. It's actually really important for anybody listening. They can just take that off my website or off my LinkedIn profile
Yeah.
and use it, because step 7 is profit. Because a lot of people think about sales and revenue, and when I go, they want me to train the sales team, which is fine, but that's a slower burn and it's not immediate. When you've got a loss-making business, or a business that's not close to between loss and profit, it's not making much money. And even ones that are making quite a bit more, if you want a quick win, go and get a bonus. So I only got
bonus?
a bonus.
Okay.
So Nissan,
Yeah.
by completing the Kaizen study and doing what they told me to do, which some of it was completely ridiculous. The sign I had outside the building was 2 centimetres too short. I had no money and I had to replace it, but it was part of getting a bonus from them. And the other one was the
Right.
finance company who I used to work for, because I worked in financial services before
Yeah.
that. They gave us a volume bonus. So I renegotiated the volume bonus. I fast forwarded it. So within 5 or 6 months of doing that turnaround, I had £150,000 worth of bonus in
Wow.
against a £250,000 loss. So that's probably one of the first things I'd look at, as well as setting the business up to sell more at a better margin, which is your sales process and probably a value proposition.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I go looking for, it's always about quick wins, Brad. Always start with quick wins. But going back to what you were talking about in terms of, like, customers want better pricing, and it is a race to the bottom at the moment, particularly when you're competing against things like Chinese product, for example. But I think it's a race to the bottom in a lot of places. You've
Yes.
always got companies, we've always had companies, Brad, that came in well below the price.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing to remember about those, and I'd say this to anybody listening to this, is that those customers, if you do lose them, and don't keep those customers at a loss necessarily. There are sometimes reasons to do that, but often you're better to let them go, because they'll come back. Because those people will not be able to deliver at that price what they want.
Yeah. I've
And
had
if
that
they,
experience a few times.
okay, and
Yeah.
if they come back,
Yeah.
yeah,
Definitely. Yeah.
okay.
That's it.
So just wait,
Yeah.
but don't just wait. Be looking after them as if they were your customer still through that period. The big mistake companies make is they get to renewal, they don't start the renewal process until close to the renewal. So say it's a 5-year deal, they're like 9 months before. They should be talking to the whole way through, and in the last 18 months they should be all over them like a rash. And then if you don't succeed, then then work with them, go back to them, understand what their problems are, keep working on innovating new solutions to the problems. I don't mean spend loads of money, because a solution to a problem could just be a way of working. It could be something as, I'm not saying it's simple, but those two bonuses.
Yeah.
Look at it in a different way.
Yeah.
So that's how I'd handle the pricing. And it is really hard. I'm not going to deny that. I had a conversation with somebody who's been in business selling really, really successfully a couple of weeks ago for like 50 years. I mean, he's literally been in, and he's so good at what he does. And he's had enough.
Because it's so tight or
It's so
hard,
tight. It's so hard.
right?
There's
The
a
wins are
couple,
probably not as easy to come across,
and it's
would you
just
say?
really hard. There's a couple of things in the business, the pricing, the race to the bottom with pricing. And
Mm.
I'll talk about that a lot, the race to the bottom, because it's very easy to get caught up in the race to the bottom.
It is.
And you just need to step off that bus.
Yeah, definitely. I think you need to have that level that you're willing to go to, and once it goes past that, that's it. Like
Just
you say, just step off the
and
bus.
have that open conversation with
Yeah,
them. I'm stepping off this bus.
yeah,
I'm not a charity, not yet.
yeah,
And I'm not going to become one. I
yeah,
love you, but I'm not going to become a charity for you.
yeah.
So I think that's the first thing, is that you need to have your hard line. You
Mm,
need to be able to say no. It's amazing. I don't know how often you've tried it, but I've often said to clients or prospects, um, this is a great opportunity. I can't actually deliver it for you. I'm not the right person for you.
mm,
So I'm going to step back from the opportunity.
yeah,
The number of people that have then come back to me and said, we still want to talk to you.
yeah.
You know,
Earlier on in the year, we were really crazy busy, and I'd done it to 2 clients, 3 in total, but the 2 actually got more obsessive.
yeah.
They wanted us even more. One of them said, "Okay, thanks so much." I never heard from them again. But so it doesn't work all the time. But 2 of them actually wanted us more. They phoned me, and I said, "No, no." I said, "We literally can't fit you in. Like, forget it. Perhaps go elsewhere. I know a guy that can help you out on this occasion. Go with them." And in
Yeah.
the end, they said, "No, no, no. We want you now." I mean, emails and everything. I was like, "This guy's emailed me like non-stop," and
So
it's because of that, isn't it? You
yeah,
know?
it's because you've got real value and because you've stood behind your value.
Yeah,
A lot of people, we're just not doing that now. We're not building that value. We're not focusing on it
yeah,
because of this focus on price and the race to the bottom.
yeah.
And then because we're not building value, or even if people have value and they've built it, they don't stand behind it. It's hard.
Mm,
I mean, I find it hard.
yeah.
I'm sat here as an
I
expert
was like, "Yeah,
with
you are.
experience.
Yeah,
However, I still have that conversation with myself most days.
yeah,
If I have a client come back to me and question it, if I'm working on a project which is a time-based project, which I try not to do, I try and do a project-based one, so it's built on value, and then I'll deliver out until the result is there. I still keep a spreadsheet so that I can stand behind it, not because I stand behind the time, but a lot of my time that I give them is not even on that spreadsheet. I'm walking around at the weekend and I have a great idea for something in a project. I have a great idea for their value proposition that's going to absolutely break through their competitors. But you need to be able to stand behind it, and you need to work on yourself on that. What is my value? What is the business's value? That's where the value proposition is so valuable,
mm,
because it helps you and your team stand behind it. So talking about your teams, you asked about them. How do you cope with increasing wages? And that again is another thing. Think about value again, because how much of what they're asking for is actually not satisfied by pounds and pence? It's satisfied by them being valued by you and their opportunity
mm,
to have an impact in the business.
yeah.
So what I'm saying is, how much does recognition cost?
Well, as long as you do the service right and you bring that value, then nothing really.
Okay, so to your team
Yeah.
and to anybody's team, how much do people use recognition, the free recognition that we have?
I think it's quite overlooked, isn't it?
It's very overlooked.
Mm,
I mean, we could just walk out of this room and say to whoever's helped us today, it's just give them a really good piece of recognition and a really big thank you.
mm,
I think we forget how much that's worth to them.
yeah.
Um, I did a lot of work quite a few years ago now on motivation, and there's a lot of articles from people like Harvard and people like that, Accenture, about motivation. And one of the ones I remember really well was opportunity to make an impact. So actually, if you give people more room to do more and have more of an impact, that is really, really important as well. Obviously, if they're at subsistence level and money is they're not paying their bills, then that's a different set of, things. But, once they're past that, there's a lot of other things that can equate to wages. Time off, sabbatical.
Yeah.
Because the thing to think about as well is you want to motivate them to stay, you want to pay them, but you also want to give them things of value, and you want to show them that they're valued so that they stay. Because going back, if you increase their wages, it's going to have an impact on your pricing.
Mm.
But what if they go? What's that going to do to your business?
Yeah. There was that Richard Branson thing, wasn't it? Like train them well enough so they can leave, but treat them well enough so they stay.
Correct.
And I think that's so valuable because, like, finding the right person or the people that wants to be part of your journey and really invested in your journey and the vision, I think it's really hard, or harder, than just picking off someone off, well, not off the street, but like someone that applies easily
You
enough.
do.
It's okay, right? Yeah, you'll do, and you get.
Yeah.
It's just so much more in depth if they're really invested.
Yes.
And if that person's coming to you and says, like, I want an extra so many percent, you then got to evaluate, okay, what's that cost for the year? But then what's it cost to replace them
And I
and
think
train the new person?
have the conversation.
Yeah.
Have
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
conversation. Because I think, again, I saw it. I had to make redundancies when I did that turnaround. I've had to do it since, and I've had to go into clients and say, I've looked at your team, and this is what you want to achieve, and there are people in your team which aren't in the right job.
Mm.
Which is a nice way of putting it. I mean, when I worked in the motor trade, it was a lot more brutal than that.
Yeah.
But I had to make redundancies there, and everybody. It was a really stressed business, so everybody was really stressed. It wasn't just me. Everybody was really fearful. But what I always say is it's a difficult job. And I see leaders making redundancies saying, oh, it's so hard, I'm really not looking forward to it. And I think, well, what about the person on the receiving end?
Yeah.
So do the bad job, do it really, really well, or the difficult job, do it really, really well. So when you get someone coming to you for an increase in pay, and I'm not saying just you, anybody, if they come to you for an increase in pay, if there's somebody you really value, start asking them, be really open to it. Okay, what is it that we're missing?
Mm.
What's important to you about that pay? What difference is it going to make to you? How's it going to help you in my business? What else do you want?
Mm.
What else could you want? And sometimes you have to open people's eyes up to it because they haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just thinking, like, even like have a real deep think of what you could possibly offer them as an organization,
Yeah.
and even send them the list and say, look, what would it even matter to you? Something, or a poll or something like
Yeah.
that. Because I'm
That'd be
sure,
great.
yeah, I'm
That'd
sure
be
just not
great.
money would be the only
Yeah,
thing.
and
It
if you
wouldn't
look
stop
into
there.
if you look into motivation,
Mm.
money is one of the lower things. Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, we talked about it for years. It's still so, so relevant. I mean, people have messed about with it and stuff.
Yeah.
I still like Maslow.
yeah,
What would it take you to get to the next level? Where are you now?
yeah.
And give them ideas if needs be. But most people, if they're good in your business, they're going to have those ideas. And we've got a new generation coming in
Mm.
who've got different ideas. Sometimes, I mean, you hear this all the time with Gen Z, their sense of entitlement and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And I really fight against that. I mean, our daughter's Gen Z, and she started work 2.5 years ago, and she's smashing it out there.
She comes from good start.
I like to think so, but I learn stuff from her every day.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know what you mean.
She
Yeah.
amazes me, and sometimes she pushes back at me, and it's really good for me.
Mm.
She's got a great boss, and I asked her what the key thing was about that boss the other day. I said, what is it? And I'd seen some information about, the things autonomy and this, that, and the other, and she came up with trust.
Mm.
Don't get me wrong, she knows exactly what's going on, but there's just a sense of trust, and that's so freeing.
Yeah.
And that's so powerful.
Yeah.
How much does trust cost? It does have some cost because you have to take risks to
Yeah.
trust.
That's right. Yeah.
Then, like in sales, you have to be on the numbers. You have to
Yeah.
measure the metrics and be aware, but you don't have to micromanage people. You can trust them to do a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that goes back to that whole thing about like them on board, making sure you've got a good company culture, because sometimes people abuse your trust in a sense. But like you say, it's having that right. You can go really deep, can't you? Recruitment process. Do you have the
Yes.
right recruitment process to get the right people in?
Yeah.
All of that sort of thing to build that organisation that's based on trust, which I like to think is quite a valuable part. But you just quickly touched on your daughter there. I know people brand these Gen Zs, millennials, and all that sort of thing with this title of entitlement and things. But I don't believe in all of that. I just think it's sort of individuals, because I've got a vast range of sort of ages, right from sort of like 17 right up to 48. No, sorry, beg your pardon, forgetting the office stuff, 64. So, yeah, so yeah, there's a huge variety, lots of different
Yeah, yeah,
generations in there. And each one offers their own thing.
yeah.
But I've also had people come and go of, again, different ages, and they haven't worked out for one reason or another. So I think it's probably unfair to label certain generations, because I think that the people coming through, or the younger people coming through now, are so well equipped with technology. And what's the future?
Absolutely.
You know?
And I love your positive attitude there,
You know?
because what the whole thing about anything,
Mm.
and definitely sales, I mean, I said, I want people to have a bit of fun along the way, and sometimes put a face at that. But it's about, if you don't have a positive attitude, you're definitely going to go to the bottom, yeah? Because where you
Yeah,
focus, you're going to end up.
exactly. That's
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah. I used to ride horses quite seriously. I used to
Oh, okay.
compete
Wow.
and had a
I
trainer.
missed it off. Why not get on the research?
Probably isn't on there, but yeah, I used to compete quite seriously when I was working internationally. I had 2 kids under 5 as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Still doing it then.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the questions here. So yeah.
But I had one trainer who used to say to me, "Why are you looking at the ground? Because wherever you're looking, you're going to end up there."
Oh,
And
that's
I still hold that.
powerful.
It's so powerful. Yeah,
That's
I
brilliant.
learnt a lot from both that competition training, and I bring it into work, but also I'm working in high performance. Not saying I was particularly, but I ran alongside
Mm,
some international riders and things, and I got taught by international competitors. But also like the mentality of horses, because they can't speak.
yeah.
So when you're looking at people, yeah, I'm not saying look at them and think they're a horse, but just some of the learning you get from that. But going back to the Gen Z, yes, and I love your positive attitude
Mm,
to them. I have a really positive attitude to it, looking at our daughter and our son,
mm,
and they're both very, very different. Um, but the thing that overrides it all, because I've also seen the other side of the coin now, because I'm trying to help some young people. I'm really passionate about helping young people into the workplace. They are our future. They're definitely my future, probably yours as well,
mm,
in terms of like, the future of the economy,
mm.
and the future for care and stuff. I was listening to the radio on the way in. It was saying, the birth rate is not at replacement level. And the people now, the
Yeah,
Gen Zs, are
that's
the ones who are going to be looking after us and paying our pensions and healthcare and stuff. So we tied them up in knots in COVID. We need to totally support them.
we need to back them.
Thank
Definitely.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Because not a lot of people say that. I have seen the reverse side of the coin
Who
as
says
well.
that? I mean, that's insane that people don't agree with
Lots of
that.
people do. They say they've got a sense of entitlement. They're very flaky. Snowflakes.
Oh yeah,
Snowflakes.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. I heard
Okay.
that being branded, but
And
yeah,
I've
exactly.
really fought that.
Yeah.
But it's because the attitude and the work ethic of our 2 kids and some of the other people I see around me just defies that.
Yeah.
And I would always say recruit on attitude, recruit on that drive.
100%.
Absolutely. So
Yes,
that's where your
definitely.
culture, that's why
Yeah.
your 64-year-old to 17 or
Yeah.
17 to
Yeah.
64,
Yeah.
they work
Yeah.
because of the right attitude and
Yeah.
because of the right culture that feeds into that. But there is some of that sense of entitlement. There's also some of this, like they want to work, they want to earn money, but they don't want to work. Like, I guess you and I have
Yeah.
definitely worked.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, when I ran that car dealership, I worked 7 days a week. I used to
Yeah.
be in
Yeah.
there for service at 7 in
That
the
sounds like
morning.
self-employment. Yeah. That sounds
Why
like
do you
running a
think I ended up
business.
self-employed? I was running that business for them. That's
Mm.
the way I worked in corporate. That was my business.
Yeah.
Why else would I be doing it if I didn't take that responsibility?
Yeah.
So there is some of that with Gen Z, and also they have great tech skills and stuff, but we also need to help them, come into the world of employment. We have to take risks as
Mm.
well, and they need to buy into the fact that it's not an easy route forward.
Yeah. But do you know what though? I think it's because generations are different, regardless of what they've been through, but how you speak to them. So, like my older ones, let's say, mature ones.
That's children, not
Yeah,
staff, right?
that's children. Oh, yeah, dear. Well, yeah, staff. It's like I've got like 41
Or is it
children.
staff now?
I've got 41 children, me. But
Yeah,
yes,
you have.
I used to be jet black hair. Now it's all gone and grey. But yeah,
Tell me about it.
yeah. So what it is I think it's how you deliver the message to them. So I think there was probably a cut-off point where you just can't just say, "Oh, just get on with it," because even the older ones, you can say, "Okay, well, we need to get it done, so let's just get on with it. Let's stay nice and get it done." But the other ones can still do exactly the same, but you say, "Listen, if we do this, we can achieve this," and then because this goes part of our vision, and this is the journey that we're on, and so on. But I find that more exciting when you label it out that way. So I've got a friend, she's 27, and she's like a little bit lost in her role and such, but when she helps me out as well, she does like bits for me, and whenever she does, she's like, "I love doing bits for you because you lay it out like a vision, like, yeah, I know where I'm going, I know what I've got to do." But in her role, the company that she has, it's very old style. It's like, "Here's what we want to do, just get on with it." And it's just that, I think it's just that way of speaking to them, how you not them, but as an individuals, staff, team, whatever you want to call it, because everybody has a different way on how they receive things. You could say the disc profile. I think that's probably one factor, but I think it's
Yeah, I'm not a
also
great lover of that. I've
yeah.
used it. I've done it myself. I
I've read
think
some
it's a bit.
books on it,
It,
and it's like I think I agree
it's
with some of it, but I don't think it's
yeah,
everything.
and
I
I
think
think
you can't really
that's
put
why
anybody in boxes, you know?
no, and I think like you're saying, you're very intuitive, you're very responsive, you're very involved by the sounds of it,
Mm,
and that's what it needs. Obviously, as you scale your business further, it becomes harder when you've got a team
yeah.
of 41. I had a team of 35. When it gets to 100, I'm dealing with some CEOs and MDs who've got, forget a handspan of direct reports. They've got like 15 direct reports and,
Yeah.
massive businesses. So as you scale, it becomes more difficult, but it's how you spread that message. And I think you're absolutely right. I do think there are different levers in different generations and different experiences, different backgrounds.
Mm,
And you kind of need to respond to those. I mean, I did a session with a company that I was working on a W revenues project with last year. And I went into the training session. I hadn't quite realised, but they were all definitely Gen Z.
mm.
Um, but when I said let's do some quick introductions just to sort of get people talking, I knew they were quite young, and I said just to say a bit something about yourself or whatever, and how long you've been with the company. The first person said that they said what their name was, how long they'd been there, and then they said, "Oh, and I'm 24." I thought, okay, fair enough. Everyone in the room then said how old they were, which I hadn't asked them to do.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
a
That's
really
interesting.
weird thing, but it told me straight away that everybody was sub 25, and most of them were sub 22.
Yeah.
And they were very different.
Yeah.
They were very, very different,
Exactly.
just in terms of how they learnt and they were very, very good in some areas. The more, I suppose, logistical, technical sort of things about
Mm,
some of the sales aspects, maybe less intuitive around some of the emotional stuff. Because if you think a lot of that generation, they've grown up doing all of their communication or a lot of their communication on tech, on
mm.
screen,
Yeah.
and it really shows.
Yeah.
It really tells.
Mm.
Um,
That could be a one factor as well, isn't it? With communicating with actual people,
yes, yeah.
probably not so much of that. Whereas when we were younger, that was all we done. When it was no tech, it was like we'd go outside
But
and
but you
just
can't.
speak to neighbours and
But you
friends.
can't avoid tech. You
Yeah. Oh
can't
yeah.
avoid tech. You
No.
can't avoid AI. It's how you make a good use of it and how you blend it.
Yeah. It's
Uh,
definitely here to stay. So
yeah,
you know.
and you've got you talked about proposals earlier. I guess a lot of those are probably just done electronically or online, or
Mm,
and there's a much less opportunity to build those relationships and find that point of difference, which is kind of what you need to do before you get into that. So you need to build those relationships before you get
yeah.
into the actual proposal stage. But going back to staff, I think it's a challenge for me. I'm learning about it all the time. I'm constantly looking to see what I can learn, both people I meet, close people in my network, but also when I get opportunities to work with different groups of people, I relish it because I can then go and learn more about how to make it work, and
Exactly.
how I can make things fun, how I can engage people, how I can increase their confidence. So I'm doing a lot of what you're needing to do with your team,
Yeah.
um, with the companies I work with their teams, because if I don't, I can't make a difference.
And also, I think with that open-mindedness that you have, it's allowing you to absorb new ways of doing things, isn't it? Talking to different
Absolutely.
characters and talking to different individuals, how they learn and how they speak. it's then all the while it's building up our tools to communicate with even more of a variety of people, you know. So I think having that openness to it, I think is very key.
Yeah. And it's
So
part of the joy of certainly what I do, and I guess what you do. I
yeah,
mean, if you can't learn something new every day,
yeah, exactly. What's the point?
what are we here
Yeah,
for?
exactly. That's it. Yeah. So with the so children,
Yes, children.
how was it running all of that and having two children?
Exciting,
Yeah.
exhausting. Can I think of another E?
Yeah.
Enlightening.
Yeah, that's it.
um, really tough sometimes, and I've hit rock bottom with it.
Mm,
Um, and like any mum and any family, I've had some pretty big challenges.
mm,
But yeah, really tough. But then I had to adapt not only my business, I had to adapt myself as well.
mm.
And you know, it's been a joy because I wouldn't be who I am today if it weren't for them.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't be who I am today if it weren't for that turnaround, if it weren't for working in financial services, if it weren't for running my own business, if it weren't have been going from zero to hero and back again.
Mm.
But they've been absolutely instrumental in it, and I've had so much fun with them. I mean, I've gone to
Brilliant.
Thorpe Park.
Yeah.
Where did I go recently? I went to interactive golf in London, and
Yeah.
I mean, what's not to love about that, you know?
Brilliant. Yeah.
You know, if there's a message on my phone when we finish, it says, you know, do you fancy doing this? The likelihood
Yeah.
is I'm
Book tickets.
yeah, I just Thought Park now. I'm a little bit more wary of some of those
Yeah.
guys,
Yeah.
but no, it's been amazing, and I've learnt so much from them, and
Mm.
I just can't, you know, would I do it any differently? I mean, I managed to structure my work life in theory, so I work 3 days a
You
week
got it done.
when I was in my last corporate role, and part of the reason for coming out self-employed and setting my own business up was to meet a triangle of needs, which was one was I still wanted the challenge, so I didn't want to go and do. A lot of people would go and do a part-time job and that, and I just couldn't
Mm.
see myself doing that. I think I'd be bored in like 3.5 minutes, and I'd be starting trying to run the school or something.
Yeah.
So challenge. Variety, because I was a little bit bored in corporate because I had to go where they told me to go.
Yeah.
I had to do to a certain extent what they told me to do, which I often didn't do. But the other one was flexibility.
Yeah.
So, like when I ran my own business, I could sometimes work 7 days a week, but sometimes work 3 days a week, and sometimes get to the school pickup. I was quite often late, um, you know, or I got my plane cancelled coming back
Yeah.
from Belgium and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So that's why I did it. So you have to be flexible. You have to adapt,
Mm.
but it's what you want. It's what I wanted,
Yeah.
you know, and you just have to set your intent. And I had a lot of people saying, well, when you have kids, you can't have horses. And I'm like, why not? I mean, to be fair, after about 7 years, I realised it is quite difficult. Having horses, running your own business and having kids, actually,
That's
something
quite a lot to take on that there.
something did have to give. But I was ready to let it go because I'd
Mm.
done what I needed to do. I'd done
Yeah.
a lot with the horses. I'd competed at a high level, even when I had the kids.
Sounded like you had a bit of a different North Star at that time, isn't it? You know, sort of like, and the horses weren't really involved in that. It's like building that business, spending time with your children,
Yeah.
allowing them to grow in the best way.
Yes, I think probably
Kind
at
of
the
overtook
time it
that.
wasn't. It was presented to me. I mean, I just didn't have the time. It's the bottom line. Didn't have the time,
Yeah.
and then my horse got really difficult to ride because I didn't ride it enough, and it was going to chuck me on the
Oh,
floor.
okay, right.
But it
Okay.
was a combination of things. But yeah, I think it was a transition for me,
Yeah.
and you do go through transitions, you know, and I did that at maximum level. I went back to it and I rode again the last couple of years, and I'm really glad I did it. Am I desperate to go and do it again? Not while it's snowing, for sure. Really muddy.
Not now.
But yeah, so that was my experience. But I just still love getting time with them. One's still at college, so I still support him on his journey with that, and the other one is working in the city, and I just love getting involved any way I can. I just love it.
I know I've said to you before about this, but I think that you are like the UK's version of Mel Robbins and her daughter.
Oh yeah, you did say.
You still haven't read that. Let them
I
theory.
haven't.
Read that book.
Yeah,
But yeah,
haven't had time.
yeah, sorry. In between riding the horses and running
I'll
a
remember.
massive
I'll order
business.
it today.
Yes, please. I think you'll enjoy it actually. But I see you with your daughter perhaps coming up. I reckon, I'll tell you, at some point in the future, I think there'll be something, definitely. And it'll be a success, I'm sure.
What us?
You and your daughter forming a partnership and a business
Yeah,
venture.
well, I have to thank you actually because I've started this new program for mentoring women.
Oh, this is the one in January.
Yes,
Right.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yes. Yeah.
So I've already started it.
Yeah.
So, but
Brilliant.
it's a soft launch.
Oh,
But I've already started it. I built the program, and already working with some people.
yeah.
I already was really, but I'm not stopping working with the 8+ figure businesses
Yeah.
because I still love that. I love the cut and thrust of that.
Yeah.
I love being in, I suppose, male-dominated environments. I like that.
Yeah.
I like, as I said earlier, getting down deep and dirty with
Mm.
businesses and sorting them out.
Yeah.
It's good fun. But I've launched this thing with women, and I have to thank you because that was my North Star, or I saw it as my purpose, and I really believe it is helping women along the journey who have these sorts of experiences that want to scale their businesses, but helping them build a mindset to match it so that those experiences make them, not break them. And it was you mentioning my daughter because I'd done a post, hadn't I, on LinkedIn with a
You
picture of me
had.
and my daughter. But actually, that the program is me setting it up. But actually, it's made me think. Actually, this is potentially a legacy.
Mm.
She's Gen Z,
Yeah.
so she's going to bring something to it. The first thing I'm probably going to do is on the quarterly intensives, is bring her along.
Yeah.
I said that to her, and she was a bit like, "Well, what am I going to
You've
say?"
got
I said,
to.
"You're going to be amazing.
Oh, you've got to.
You're going to be amazing."
Yeah, definitely.
I mean,
100%.
she traveled out to the States within a year and a bit of starting work.
Yeah.
So I thank you for that
Oh,
because
thanks very
actually
much.
I do now see that as a legacy because I never
Yeah.
really saw my business as a legacy.
Yeah.
Because I ran it because of some of the challenges I had. I ran it more as a like this is for me
Yeah.
with the challenge, the variety, and the flexibility. So it was never going to be massive. Um,
I think doing that though will really give something back to your daughter because all of those years of experience that you have, I think there's no better way to learn that unless you're side by side, learning from you day by day. And I think you can really invest that time and then give her, sort of like a huge advantage and then set that company up and you're both doing it together. And then you can then sit back and just, groom the horses and ride them whenever you like. In your stables,
go on
whenever
holiday.
she's out
Holidays.
traveling the world.
Holidays.
Oh, okay.
Holidays. One of my goals.
Brilliant.
12 holidays a year.
Wow.
I failed last year. Didn't quite meet it.
Yeah, yeah.
Not going to meet it this year for
Yeah.
a number of reasons. But I'm still setting 12 next year.
It's so funny you say that. I had the same goal this year and I was close, except September and October was so busy for us that I couldn't get away anywhere. So I was like, okay, fine. But yeah, next year I'm going to give it a crack.
Yeah, go for it.
We've both got to do it at the same
If
time.
you don't aim high, you won't get
Exactly,
there.
yeah.
So, I mean, if I hadn't set it at 12, would I have got to 8?
Yeah, that's true, isn't it? What's that thing, Les Brown, isn't it? Shoot for the moon because if you miss, you're landing the stars.
Yes, correct.
That's
Yeah.
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the 7 step.
Yes.
Take us through the 7 steps.
Okay. So where it came from, my time in corporate and in running the business, I probably developed it just before COVID. And it basically fell out of my head one day on a train journey. And it's around what have I done over these years to help businesses go from 0 to hero or to double their revenues. I actually do 3 levels, which is enhance, expand, and exit. So enhance is like businesses that are losing money or not making much money. How can they use what they've already got to get them to the next level? Because you can't go into those sorts of businesses and say you need to spend £100,000 even. You need to get them using what they've already got better so they can get some money in the coffers and then they can reinvest and then they can expand.
Yeah.
So when they get to that level, that's when we get towards the double your revenues, and we're looking to actually double revenues, in a short period of time. And often that then leads on to exit. So how can you get your revenues and your forward order sales book in a position where you can sell that business for maximum value, get what you need out of it? So the 7 steps are sort of solve all of the problems that I've encountered over the years, that's a lot of years, that
Oh, no way.
businesses encounter that stop them either like getting the sales and revenues where they want them to be or to doubling them if they're really ambitious. So it starts off with philosophy. They're all P's, it's all this groovy stuff, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
Philosophy, that's about the culture, but it's not just about the culture in the business, it's top to bottom and it includes the customers.
Right.
Because you actually want to do business with people that believe what you believe, not what you want,
Yeah.
not
Less
well, what you've
resistant.
got. Do you see what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
you know, you talked about these people wanting lower prices and you've got your people wanting higher wages.
Mm.
Well, actually, if you target customers that believe what you believe and you know what you believe, you've got a much better chance. So, top to bottom culture shift, sales growth launchpad, I
Mm.
call it. Second one is plan.
Okay.
And that's not an 80-page document. It's like, you know, how do you get something on a piece of paper, 1 or 2 pages, and get that implemented through your team to get you where you need to go and fast? Okay.
Okay.
So rapid implementation and fail fast and
Yes.
recover. Okay. 3 is performance, and that's all about, and that's often where I start. That's
Okay.
like, what are you measuring? What are you managing? Because if you're not measuring it, you can't manage it.
Yeah.
And where are the levers? Where can you just turn that lever by 1%? Marginal gain to get 4, 5, 6,000 pounds in the next week, in the next 24 hours,
Mm.
and continuous. Make it continuous. So that's performance.
Mm.
Process. I talked about sales process earlier. Follow-up process. How many people have a follow-up process? How many people follow up?
Yeah.
You know, simple things. And we can add jazz to them, Brad. And I
Yeah.
do that. You have to do that because a lot of people in the modern world, they want jazz. You know, I use AI, I look at new tech, I look at new methods, I look at what other people are talking about. I invest in myself massively on masterminds, as you know, so that
Mm.
I can go and see what else is going on out there, like AI for sales. I actually believe that doesn't have a place in sales at the moment, definitely not in complex sales.
Mm.
You know, it's not good enough
Yeah.
yet.
Well, yeah,
Yet.
exactly. I would say, yeah,
It's good.
perhaps.
It's good for lost business.
Yes.
So processes, they're fundamental. They're fairly easy to do,
Mm.
and they have a massive impact. Most people don't have a sales process,
Mm.
and if they do, they don't use it, or it's not documented and it's not used.
So would the processes go through all of the divisions? Like, because obviously every division really has a process,
I
even a
tend to
recruitment process.
focus on the sales and revenue
Right.
side of it,
Okay.
but
So back to that win,
I
that
would go
financial win.
into the business and I'd look for where the quick wins are.
Gotcha.
So if the
Okay.
process is, for example, one of my clients does high-end lighting in the city, and their process goes all the way through, it follows the REBA process,
Mm.
the architect's process, Royal Institute of British Architects process, because they go all the way through from when a dealer build is being designed, because
Yeah.
lighting is 10% of the budget normally, all the way through to implementation and then running it. Because if you get beautiful lights in
Yeah.
and they don't work, they don't switch on, they ain't very good, are
Yeah.
they?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
their sales process runs all the way through to that. So I got very involved with their project management team and their delivery team, because it's all about delivery in sales.
Mm.
I think you talked about afters with that person
That's
earlier.
right. Yeah.
So it's
That's
all
it.
about delivery because it's got to work. It's got to solve the problem and it's got to keep doing it. So if that's what the business needed or wanted, then I'd probably do it. I'd also give them what they needed.
Yeah.
So I give them what they want. We want you to train our salespeople. I'll give them that, but I'll make sure that they get what they need as well.
Yeah.
Because I'd be doing them a disfavour if I didn't.
Yeah.
So yes, it could go across the business, but again, what you focus on, you'll get more of.
That's
So
right.
it's really important that I go in and focus on the things that are actually going to get them the right results. It's a conversation I'd have with them around that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's processes. Yeah.
Processes, proposition, which is value proposition.
Yes.
So how do you come out as difference? How do you stand apart from the competition? How do you make people want to buy from you or not want to buy? They notice you, you attract them, and they want to work with you
Yeah.
rather than the competition. Sounds really simple. And then you build a sales enablement kit from that so that your team can go out and deliver it out. That's where marketing and sales absolutely come together in a process, in a seamless. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Your message out to the market is absolutely the same across the business. You talk with one voice, you're different, you add value.
Yeah.
Sounds
Okay.
really simple.
Yeah, I think this is coming from a point of view like when the business is up. So you're going in, aren't you, to kind of like, right, okay, let's look at these parts. It's not like if you were setting up a business, you wouldn't necessarily start, you'd probably start with vision, wouldn't you? And
Yeah,
that
which
sort of
would
thing,
come into plan.
purpose.
I do less work with startups
Yeah,
um, because often they don't have the budget for me to give them the results they need at that
yeah,
stage. There are better startup people out there.
yeah,
So they'd be one of the people, like I said earlier, I'd say, I can do it.
yeah,
I'm probably not the right person.
that's right.
And like
Yeah,
when you talk about operations, I probably know someone who I could bring in.
yeah,
Like I've got project managers, a team of project managers I work with who do really high end project management. So could probably do some of that stuff,
yeah,
like in after sales, for instance, better than I can. Um, but I will do it if it's absolutely necessary to get to the results where we need to do it, and they want to definitely work with me, and I love working with them.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So yeah, so I do more work with, as I said, 8+ figure businesses that are already running, which is where the enhanced bit starts.
yeah,
That's my version of startup. Um,
yeah,
Turnaround is really quite traumatic, as
yeah,
I've
yeah,
experienced.
yeah. I was about to say, but you've got lots of experience in that, so why not share that?
Yeah.
So yeah, so
So
that's
so that's step 5.
yeah,
So quickly I'll do step
yeah,
6 and 7. 6 is people, which is huge. That's
yes,
all the way through from attracting them, um, assessing them, recruiting them,
yeah,
motivating them, managing them, training them, succession plans, people investment. Um, that's huge.
yeah,
And I do most of that, in fact, all of that, because if you haven't got a high performance strategy and a high performance team in place, you ain't going to double your revenues.
yeah,
You can do it with a few, but you need to build it, but you need to retain them. So
yeah.
that's really important. That's why I say sometimes with clients, I've gone in and said, you haven't got the right players on the field.
Mm, yeah. Okay.
And that's a tough bit. So people have to be
Yes.
willing to come on the journey. And then, as I said, the last one is profit. And
Mhm.
that's looking at costs as well. I mean, I'm experienced at looking at a profit and loss account, picking out some of the biggest costs. I don't believe in cutting costs to double revenues, but sometimes you have to go there as well. But I'd want to counter that with looking for bonuses, looking for quick wins. It might just be that you've got a tender in, or you've got a salesperson who's performed really well. They just need a couple of coaching sessions and they'll tip over and do a couple of deals in a couple of days, and you'll get another £50,000 in.
Yeah. Yeah. I think with that though, it is really in a position where you manage your numbers, or you certainly monitor the numbers, so you can really understand where it's going. As you said, the levers to pull, when to pull them, to get the maximum results, or the quick wins
Yeah.
as soon as you can.
Focus again.
That's it. Exactly. Yeah.
Because
That's it.
you could go have a go at everything, but you won't get the results from
Yeah.
everything. You're better to have a go at one or two places, get
Yeah.
the results, get the cash in, reinvest it to build your team, to invest in, whatever it might be,
Yeah.
to then grow to the next level.
Yeah.
Keep really focused. I love a laser focus.
Yeah. But it's also sustaining that as well, isn't it? And I think having that end result, like perhaps you keep that laser focus because you can see an end result or a goal, or you have that vision where you want it to be.
Yes.
And I think that keeps you going.
Yes.
And then it goes back to having that North Star, isn't it?
Mm.
The why. Why are you doing it?
Yeah.
Because when you get out of bed, not every time are you going to be like laser focused like every single morning, but you remind yourself, oh,
Yes.
I must be, because this is the end result. And I think it's
Yeah.
key, isn't it? Having that.
Absolutely, and I think that's like purpose almost.
Yeah,
It's a
purpose.
purpose, it's a belief.
Yeah.
It's got to be more than just numbers.
Mhm.
Because if it's just numbers, it's too painful.
Yeah.
And the body, we run away from pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't go and stick our hand in the fire because we think we might get, a nice red hot ruby out of it. We're not going to do that,
That's it, yeah.
So we need to focus on belief and purpose. If I get up in the morning, and I do, particularly when it's grey, and not when it's snowing because I love the snow, but when it's grey, I often wake up and think,
Mm.
and I just think about, just do what you always do when you feel great.
Yeah, that's true, isn't
Just
it?
do the things you normally do when you feel great. Why do
Yeah.
it any differently? And it's amazing how it works.
Do you know what? It's so funny. You are like the UK Mel Robbins. That's exactly what she says. She goes, "I hate the mornings. I don't want to get
I
up."
see. I actually like mornings, but there are days when I get up. Like when I got up this morning, it was really well. It was nearly dark. It was
Yeah,
really
yeah,
quite grey.
yeah,
But then when it snowed, I felt really
yeah.
excited.
That's it. Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Yeah.
but so the big wrap around with the 7 steps, and I've made that very clear with the program for women, is the mindset piece.
So two quick fire rounds then. Um, what did you have to overcome to not limit your beliefs? So, like, obviously, you've had some major shifts in, pivots and
Yeah.
directions. Was there any limiting beliefs that you had to say, "Do you know what? I've got to put that aside and overcome that for me to venture on this,"
Uh,
or have you always just gone like full steam ahead?
n- I've always gone full steam ahead, but
Yeah.
I've had massive limiting beliefs, and I still have because you said, "What do you do to overcome them?" So I do it every day.
Oh, okay,
It
right.
they never go away.
Yeah,
They're in your they're hardwired. You can't They're like an onion. You
yeah,
can uncover them layer by layer, but to actually get rid of them is really hard. So, a couple of big ones. I think when I first started the business, my limiting belief was like, you can only spend what you've got. I had a bit of capital to set it up, but
mm,
if I went back and did it again, and I did a speech to young people on this, if I did it again, I would invest more in the beginning in
mm,
some things, in people, in resources to kickstart it more. And the
yeah,
other thing that held me back a lot was risk averse. I was being very, very risk averse, very careful with not only my money and my investments, but also with my clients. So
yeah,
it's a
yeah,
good thing in many, many respects, and it's served me well.
yeah,
Like when we've gone into things like Brexit and COVID, I've had capital to stand behind me, so I've been able to go back to
yeah. So
era.
you've taken, yeah,
But I still was very risk averse. Where I overcame that was when I set my property business up in 2020 in
yeah,
lockdown, like you
yeah,
do.
yeah,
Set my original business up in the financial crisis, set my next one up in COVID.
yeah,
Um, and I had to invest in businesses. I had to take massive mortgages out. I've had when I've not been fully tenanted,
mm,
and I've had to overcome that. And I have. And I couldn't tell you exactly what I did. All I know is I focus every day on building my mindset, on working on my limiting beliefs,
yeah,
which is why I think, and there's loads of other people out there that can do it. But because I work on myself every day on
yeah.
it, I can bring that mindset piece to all the work I do with clients and the women I'm working with.
Yeah, brilliant. And the Monday morning, to get you going on a Monday morning, just a couple of three big steps that you do.
So I do a Monday morning on a Sunday evening. So I
Okay,
already know my plan.
perfect.
I have a structure for a Monday
Brilliant.
every week.
Yeah,
I know if it goes pear shaped, I'm agile, I adapt, but I
yeah.
keep my focus and I eat the frog.
Brilliant. Okay. So where can people find you?
So LinkedIn
Yes.
is the primary place to find me, and on my website, verticalsales.co.uk.
Okay.
They're the places to find me.
Brilliant. Kathy, it's been an honour. Thank you so much for coming on.
Pleasure.
Really
Thank you so
enjoyed
much,
it.
Bill. Thank you for the opportunity.
No
Really
worries.
enjoyed it. Great
Yeah,
fun.
thank
Thank you.
you.